Hello, hello. Welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 31. I think we're live. Yes, we are. Okay, it says so on the bottom. As usual, my name is William Kale from Coinigy.com, and Rob Borden from Coinigy is laughing at me right now. So, so welcome everybody. Got a great show in store for you here tonight. Per usual, we have Brian Beamish, the Irrational Investor. How you doing this evening?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. And Rob Borden, as I just mentioned, from Coinigy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was checking out the YouTube chat here.
Yeah, I will mention that after we get through the intros. So we finally have graduated. And then also we have Alex Sterk from Block Talk. What's going on, man?
Hey, yeah, things are going well. I got a crap load of interviews this week, so yeah, this is just my favorite one to date, though.
Awesome, awesome. And we have a special, super special guest, Jordy, Not So Fast Crypto. What's going on, man? Glad to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you so much for letting me be on here. I'm pretty excited to talk some altcoins and bitcoins.
Right on. Yeah, it's been an exciting week. Been an exciting few weeks, at least in terms of Bitcoin. So yeah, if you guys can hold on just 1 second, I have to let my cat out of my office here. He's biting my leg, so I will be right back.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. You know this isn't
the fine New York skyline.
Hi, Kitty.
Yeah, so yeah, I was happy to bring you guys Jordy here, Not So Fast. Look, Mom, I got friends. They're not just internet friends.
Yeah. You're both in basically the same part of the world, eh?
Yeah, pretty close by.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, I just stopped by on my way back from Guelph. I did an interview just before the show here with Tenderman. It's a really cool blockchain project, but gotta hang out with my favorite pal in crypto here. You know? Yeah.
Right
on. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, Brian, don't make it weird.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Well,
this is all good times, good times. How are you tonight, Rob?
Oh, you know, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Excited for the show tonight.
Cool. Actually, I was really impressed. People are like tweeting all over. Can't wait for when's the next show? When's the next show? So we've actually built up a bit of demand here. I'm really proud of you guys. You guys put together a really, really cool product here.
We're rocking and rolling. It's due to you, Brian.
No. Anyway.
You're the prime attraction.
Yeah, Brian brings in all the numbers.
So I guess there's only one thing on everybody's minds right now. Wow, Bitcoin face rip, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will definitely get into that in a second. Let's see here. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah, about the live chat. So anybody who's watching, we normally do a Hangouts on air. We finally figured out how to do a live chat. So feel free to dive in. If you can, keep the trolling to a minimum. I know it's kind of hard to resist at times, but
is there like a specific address or something to go to? Because I just had one of my students say I totally want to get on and ask them a question or two.
Yeah, it's just the YouTube link. Yeah, just go to youtube.com/Coinigy and then click on Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk 31, and then it will show up.
So John, did you hear that? John,
it's on the actual YouTube page. I think you have to sign into YouTube in order to chat, something like that.
Okay, so John, you've been given instructions. Go.
Get on it. So yeah, I got a great show for you guys. I'm going to dive in, just talk a little bit about a couple of new features that we've built into Coinigy and get that out of the way. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Screen one, share. So the first thing I wanted to share is that we now basically allow color coding of markets. So we had actually a couple of users that were asking, hey, there's this one coin, named something weird, and I never want to click on it ever again. Is there a way to assign a color so I don't accidentally click on this coin, or that I know it's a bad coin that I never want to buy? So we kind of built in this little feature, so it's pretty simple. You just click on any exchange over here on the left, and as you can see, I have some colors assigned. All you have to do is you right-click on the market and click Assign Color, and then you can choose basically any color to assign to the market and click Assign, and that'll change. So that's pretty cool.
Brown's a good color.
Yeah.
What's that?
Brown. I'm gonna mark a whole bunch of them brown.
All right. Well, you got something else going on there, then, Alex. I don't know, but
various shades of brown.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Earth tones. So that's just one thing that I wanted to mention. Another thing that I wanted to mention also is if you guys, for the programmers out there, if you hit up github.com/coinigy. I gave a talk at kind of an online conference this past weekend called With the Best, and in prep for that, I basically wrote up a little kind of the first ruminations of essentially a trading bot using the Coinigy API, and that's all in Node.js. So if anybody's familiar with Node.js, it's essentially just JavaScript, but it runs kind of as a console application. And this is a really great way to kind of dive into the Coinigy API and kind of see what we have to offer. And I'll just give you a quick little 30-second demo as to how this works. So I kind of coded this app up basically as a command line application with a few various commands. I don't know if you can even really read it on my screen. It's a little small, but I might be a victim of software counterfeiting. Not true. So, anyways, so there's a couple commands. Basically, if you want to see all the exchanges that are listed on Coinigy, you can just type exchanges, and now you're going to get a full list of each of these exchanges. If you want to see, specific markets on an exchange, so let's take a look at, all the OK coin markets, for example. You can just type channels OK, and then that's going to show you all the WebSocket live channels that you can subscribe to, basically. And let's just do a quick subscribe to like the OK coin trade feed. Let's do subscribe, trade, OK, BTC, CNY. So now we're subscribed. So now, I mean, that's as simple as it is to now get a live feed of every single trade going on that specific market, and you can subscribe to multiple markets. Let's see. Oh, actually, that didn't work. I have to figure out what's going on there. But basically, this is a great way to kind of learn how to use our API. You can also subscribe to block alerts and stuff like that using this, so it's pretty cool. I also built in some of our basically private REST API commands, like checking on your accounts and your balances, placing orders, adding alerts, those kind of things. So any of those coders out there, check out github.com/coinigy/blocktrader. Really simple. You just plug in your API keys, and then you can take a look at the code, and you have an immediate kind of example of how to get data into a script using Node.js. So yeah, that's about it for me. Let me get back onto video. There we go. And yeah, so how about that Bitcoin, boys?
It's booming.
What are we sitting at right now?
It's all the way up to 720.
Holy smokes!
We got on our pre-chat call. It's gone up about
it's
10 to 15 bucks.
Bitcoin and altcoin trading talk bump, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin, Brian?
Well, it's remarkable to see. I often tell people markets often will go much further, much faster for much longer than anyone expects. I've often seen that, and I think that's basically what it's Bitcoin's turn to do some serious price appreciation, it seems. I still think that we're in a ranging market, but I guess I see a lot of little anecdotal evidence that's suggesting that we could very easily blow through these old tops. It's I wouldn't have believed it to begin with, and I have to give my hats off to Alex. He was making $1,000 plus $2,000 projections a month or two ago. So hats off to you on that bullishness. And I'm a bit startled at how violent these moves are. And really, I guess, somebody had even sort of, kind of suggested that, to the moon and all that kind of stuff. And I have seen a few interesting logarithmic charts out there. So this could get a little crazy in here. I'm a trader, so I trade setups. And I do see that, when objectives are hit, that's often when the community is tweeting the loudest and most euphoric. And so I kind of think that we're going through this, and actually it's really fun.
Alex, I think we're getting some background echo there.
Oh, sorry. We'll turn down our volume a bit.
I think it's actually a very tradable market. Sometimes you hear stories, and especially some of the altcoin rallies that we do. It's just literally straight up, right? Just like in a second, it just launches higher. But I'm actually seeing a very orderly path to this price appreciation too. So it is actually quite tradable. It's just really, the irony of it all is that the market will actually go up as soon as people, for as long as there were people out there like me that were saying, I don't know, maybe not, maybe not. So if anything, it's maybe a little cautionary that Brian's actually getting on the bull. But I am long. I strapped on a long trade earlier today, and I'm feeling pretty good about the trade at the moment. I'm following my trading plan. I'm trading a setup that's in my plan, and basically I'm just following the setup and riding the bull. And the irony of it all is I don't know where anybody knows where the hell this damn thing's going to go, but as long as it keeps setting up bull setups, I got to take them. I mean, I got it. That's my job as a trader.
Yeah, Bitcoin can do whatever it wants as long as I'm prepared for it. Like that's really what I think comes down to. Volatility is great, ranging is great. Like, I think the only thing that isn't fun is like no trades getting placed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But no trades are okay too if it's not doing what's in your plan, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the point is that I pride myself on keeping like good behavior, and I think a huge part of being sustainable at that over long term is to have that plan.
Alex, could you mute for a minute? I don't know. We're getting like bad echo from you guys.
Sorry, I'll mute now. Yeah, it's good.
And really, I often tell students, I just simply say, I'm only as good of a trader as I am how well I can follow my plan. So if my plan says I got to go long, if this, and this happens, then really I have to be upset at myself if I don't follow my plan and go long. and the funniest thing is, especially in a trending market, right? When your trending signals are saying you got to get back in there and buy, there's a lot of people around you going, "Are you crazy? Are you nuts? Are you crazy?" And that's a trader's life. That's the hardest part about this, is you got to shut out all of that, and you just got to follow the plan. So anyway, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm long, and I'm enjoying the ride.
Well, it's
Awesome.
It's up $9 here since you started that commentary, so that's
I've been keeping an eye on my
it's working
phone
out
here.
so far.
720, 728, 728.7. This is getting crazy, guys. Brian, just keep talking about Bitcoin.
I mean, I hate to say it, guys. I don't know whether you've seen my tweets and stuff, but I could easily see her jump $100 here.
Yeah, I saw your one chart, Brian, where you posted like the 800 zone and as the optimal short zone, or at least even consider shorting if this thing ever slows down.
That's it, right? I mean, okay, so everybody out there in the audience, I don't think it's a good idea to be a hero and be the one trying to call tops, because the market is just gonna run it. This could very easily just run us all over. Don't be in a hurry to call tops here, guys. Please.
Yeah, this is a time when it's everyone can go around and high five and everything. It's you'd be happy that the entire market's got more like liquidity, and like the market cap of all crypto is kind of going up. Like altcoins too, a lot are holding USD value or even going up.
Yeah, they're crushing it. Actually, I've had my eye on the Bitcoin dominance percentage, and just in the past a little more than a month, or I believe it's 2 months, the market cap of in U.S. dollars of all altcoins, non-Bitcoin together, has gone from 1.4 billion to 2.7 billion U.S. dollars, and it's holding that even now as Bitcoin's shooting through $730.
That's awesome.
It's insane, and it's showing me that there's a little bit of a decoupling. Like, people aren't just selling altcoins and using them as a leverage play to get more Bitcoin and for mining or anything, like, kind of late to the party. So that part of it's pretty exciting because there's all these new actual legitimate paths to long-term profitability from buying early. Like, it's a real marketplace, not just a token to try and earn more Bitcoin. So the inverse relationship is unwinding, I think.
Yeah, that's an awesome number to hear, and you know that's something that we've all here discussed many times, and what we've been kind of waiting for is basically legitimate, quote unquote, altcoins to kind of come on the scene that are going to be long-term investments as opposed to just, like you said, basically hedges against Bitcoin. I mean, that's the majority of. If you look back in like 2013. People buying Litecoin were basically just hedging against Bitcoin.
Exactly.
People buying Doge were just hedging against Bitcoin with it. And now we're seeing, I don't know if I should mention really like the DAO, but that's a good example of money flowing into altcoins that I think people are more interested in long term, but that's also debatable. That's maybe a bad example, but.
I think, I don't mean to be rude, guys. I think, Alex, you're going to have to go totally on mute because...
Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused, flustered here. But I found this really cool chart here, cryptolization.com, and I found this back when it was, I'm sharing my screen on the second feed here, but I found this back when the market cap of all cryptos was actually like 500, like it was 499 of the S&P 500, and checked on it recently. It was at like 420. It's been climbing up, and now just with this last little rip, like we're about to break into the top 300 companies in the S&P 500. And look at the market cap chart. Like, that is just a face rip across the all the marketplaces. And like altcoins, as you said, Jordy, like they're going up in the same pattern.
Yeah.
So I'll tweet this link out because this has been one of my favorite sites to look at in the in this whole
that's
here.
really cool.
So I've got about 100 of these altcoins. Have I got a good enough chunk of the market?
Brian, hope so.
You're sitting pretty, Brian.
Have you guys seen this? I mean, that was I'm just being stupid.
That must be what your account balance looks like too. That chart then.
Yeah, well, if we have let's see if I can show it. I mean, you guys, we can do it on the Coinigy site, but this was the reason why I wanted to do this. Oh, I apologize. I'm not even showing the silly screen. They're looking at my mug. There we go. So I just wanted to, I literally I've told you guys from day one of us doing this I want to be long crypto. I want to own everything, a little piece of everything. So this is basically music to my ears. Let that capitalization rise. The only thing I don't like is what I'm seeing is the continual issuing more and more coins to increase that capitalization. I would actually prefer that we try and keep the number of coins stable and let the prices rise. That's what the way I would prefer this thing to grow, for whatever it's worth. Kind of like what Bitcoin's doing. And actually, this is actually a good testament to why Bitcoin is as good as it is, and why it's so important, and why it's so valuable. Because the supply isn't going to change, is it? Right? I mean, that's the whole selling feature of Bitcoin, and that's kind of one reason why I think Bitcoin, I know we have one site member in particular that's like, altcoins are great, but Bitcoin's where it's at. And because of that supply issue, that's one reason why I think Bitcoin's price can move egregiously higher. So, it's cool. Anyway, didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. Sorry, guys.
No, that was good. So what do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to get into some alts, or do we want to continue? I'm just on the side here, mesmerized watching this Bitcoin price surge. It just hit
Well, why
35,
don't we do this? Why don't I? Because I actually
736.9 on GDAX. It just hit.
Okay, so let me show you this chart that I tweeted out earlier, and I even said that maybe I'd try and explain it on tonight's show. So I had it on the screen there, and then after I've done this, if not so fast, if you have a chart that you would like to share with the audience, totally cool. And then maybe we can hop into some altcoins and go that way. So I tweeted this out earlier today, and I think I saw you guys repost it. So,
Yeah, we retweeted it.
yeah, so it's not bad that maybe I just try and explain what the heck the bot is. You guys have probably heard me talk about the bot before, right?
Yep.
And really all it is just a trend continuation stage, trend continuation trade. After a consolidation, I like to trade these 3-month OKCoin futures. It's just me, I'm a nut. But whatever market you trade in particular, and I think I hear you guys making reference to the cash markets. Which market are you guys actually tracking when you give that price quote?
I tend to look at GDAX.
Yeah, Rob and I usually look at Coinbase Exchange, which is now GDAX.
Well, I think GDAX, like Coinbase, has actually got a severe supply issue. Being a registered exchange, I think they're running out of Bitcoin, and that's why you're seeing the biggest jumps there. That's where average Joe is buying his Bitcoin. But if you look at something like Bitstamp, you're going to see, I think, a much more true representation of supply and long-term holders of Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, definitely. GDAX is always kind of higher on the range and lower on the range, it seems, when it's going up and down.
No, they look pretty similar. Anyway, actually, okay, so I just want to know what price you're making reference to, that's all. So just to explain to the audience, like I said, I'm a trader, which means that I trade formations, I trade setups. This happens to be a particular setup that works primarily off of price, and it's a setup that I used to use when I was a prop crude trader. Basically, you just identify a high and low of a range, and in this particular case, I've drawn it off of, I think, the low of this candle in here, or somewhere down in this level. Don't need to be too specific for this tutorial here. And I just simply ask, is the market corrected 33% to 66% of this move? And here you can see we came down, tagged the 33% level. So really, at this point, if I start getting bullish indications, then literally all I'm going to do is just duplicate this range, and you guys have probably seen me talk about these harmonic patterns, this being the AB equals CD. I mean, I think the audience is probably pretty familiar with this. And I do a lot of harmonic trading, and when I'm hunting setups, what I'm really looking for is basically the market to move harmonically from one level to another. It could be something as simple as what you're seeing here. This is one of the more basic harmonic patterns. There are more complex ones, and actually a lot of true harmonic traders would actually say that the point D point here is actually where a potential short setup develops. This way that I use this harmonic pattern is actually it's a bit of a bastardization of harmonics, true harmonic aficionados. But the long and short of it is I'm a firm believer that the market can't really ever just move in a straight line from A to B. It's actually physically impossible, because there's actually a process. At some point the market just runs out of buyers. We just run out of buyers, as simple as that. And the market literally needs to reload. If we look at markets like Stamp, and actually this is one I wouldn't, we'll talk about later, that's an altcoin. But if we look at something like Stamp, this unloading or reloading process can often be just staggeringly violent. And like I said, I often hear the most euphoric, the most bullish talk out of the communities right up in here, And, you know, in my schools and classes and stuff, and I've told you guys repeatedly, this is the last time we can be a buyer. We just can't be a buyer at this point in a move, especially after just such a monstrous move. So at the very least, what I need to see is some sort of consolidation, and that's basically what the bot hunts for. And really, ideally, I'd like to have 3 higher lows to work stops against, but can you guys see how this is a head and shoulders pattern? Let's see if I can do this for you. And it's so cool. Everybody who's watching this is, I mean, you got to just imagine, guys, when I started in this business, I used to get my price charts in the mail. I used to have to draw on the charts by hand with a pencil, and I just tore the page. You're screwed, right? I mean, we are so spoiled with Coinigy. Look how easily we could draw a nice little, you know, market structure pattern that, you know, I can't emphasize to you guys how much the world has changed. So, you know, after getting back to our story, after the washout, and like I said, on some exchanges, this washout was just awful, right? And the kids, you know, because the kids, they're the new people, the FOMOers, the people that don't really know what they're doing in the marketplace. They get most excited about Bitcoin, and this is where they bet the farm. And this is what the market does to them. It's kind of tragic in a way. But anyway, that's here nor there. The point here is, as a trader, I can't chase the market here. I got to get some sort of consolidation. In this particular case, we had a very interesting looking, you know, albeit kind of morphed, inverted head and shoulders. You guys probably have heard me talk about, you know, W's before. I don't know that you guys have ever heard me talk about W's.
A time or two.
Right.
Never, no. I think you talk about, was it P's and Q's?
Before X,
I
right?
gotta watch that when I'm around you.
Dotting the T's and crossing the I's, something like that.
Anyway, so the bottom line here is I had some reasons to be thinking long in here. It felt like the washout was done, and what was interesting is I had posted a chart on Twitter of talking about previous significant horizontal support and resistance levels through this area, and I noticed that the market just tore them apart. And really, you know, judging the bullish tone of the community, I don't know whether I have that tweet handy. I'm so terrible at searching through Twitter for this stuff. But it was okay, here it is. Cool. I put up this roadmap, you know, because some people, I think that was even you, Not So Fast. You even said 350 again. Come on. You know, regardless, we were pushing up into here. I don't know where this pullback is going to be, but I absolutely guarantee you after the halving event, I mean, you saw what happened after the halving event with Litecoin last year. My hunch is after the halving event, there will be a pullback. Does it come back this far? Nah, I doubt it. But you never know in this crazy world. But the point here is that we were coming up into these major significant resistance levels. And I think you guys, Alex and Not So Fast, you even sort of, you know, just reminded me earlier that, well, the reload zone is actually up here in this sort of high 700, low 900 zone up here. Maybe that's where we're heading to here in the short term. That's totally doable, I suppose.
Well, and if I think of like the perfect story, you know, no better truth or another better story than fiction or truth, fiction, whatever your quote was, Brian. It seems to be slipping my mind. I think the perfect story is we see a news report about the halving, and then like people automatically start thinking, it's like, man, I gotta buy it before it breaks 1,000. Oh yeah, if it breaks 1,000, like this thing's going crazy. Well, that's where, you know, the public starts buying, and then we have that pullback to shake those guys out before we have our final run.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of the story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. So long and short of it here is this was a major battle area, and what I also noticed. Let's see if I can throw this on here. Are you gonna work for him? Maybe not. Is my screen frozen? Okay, there it is. I was working with some of the level 1ers on divergences recently, and let's see if I can put this color. Are you guys seeing the chart?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was really worried as we were working our way up through this point B here you notice, oh, look at that. It's on there twice. Well, that's weird.
Hmm.
All right, so I'd already written it up. Look at that, it's already on there. I was really worried about this momentum divergence here. This was really bothersome. But you can see that the market had taken the time to clean that up. And so I was very happy about that. And so really I was resolved, and my trading plan simply says, look, Brian, you trade W's, the market's moving higher, momentum is now happy. Your trading plan says you've got to buy this. And so I went and bought it. It's as simple as that. My stop is against this low here. And you notice that the bot setup had this level as the entry, and you can see that 820 here on the futures is my stop to break even level. And you guys, I explained how you do this, right? You simply just take this A to B, and you're going to clone this fib and just change the levels to 25, 50, 66, and 100%. What we're anticipating here is that this is a harmonic AB equals CD, and if it is, then this C level won't get taken out. So my stop is just below this level right here, right? The cool part about the bot is it has sort of some built-in profit-taking levels just to help you along. And I don't know whether you noticed or not, but basically we've just hit this stop to break even level. And so I tweeted out before the show, woohoo! I'm basically in a stress-free trade. If the market does come back down to my entry level, I'll just walk away. Simple as that. And as long as the market keeps making higher highs and higher lows, then I'm just staying with the trade. And you can see the 66% level sitting here at what is that, 853-ish. At that point, I can start moving my stops up as we make higher lows, and with the ultimate objective of it looks like about 9.25 here on the futures. So I'm looking, like I said, I could very easily see Bitcoin put on $100 here. Could easily see that. It really wouldn't surprise me at all.
So what time period do you think that's going to go down in, like the next 2 days?
Well, this is an hourly chart.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And the start of this, the A to B was 80 hours. So how long is 80 hours?
Can't do the math in my head right now.
Well, if we just overlay and just simply do it.
3 days, 8 hours.
Right? Harmonically, if this was just an absolutely beautiful harmonic, it would pretty much replicate this move, which would give us a target sometime here. And I suppose, what do we got left here? We got 25 hours, so about a day. But markets very rarely ever move in a perfectly harmonic pattern like that. This son of a bitch could be here by the time this show's over tonight. It could. I've seen it happen before. And what I noticed, and what was really interesting to me, the most important thing to me, was I'm a big fan of volume divergences, right? And then confirmation. And so I was watching this volume level like a hawk. And if that volume level was taken out, then it basically implied more buying pressure. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
In essence, just higher lows and higher highs. You'll notice that volume really wasn't too impressive until this bar. In fact, we had a bit of a descending wedge here, right? Which was a bit concerning. And I really watched the volume action in here, and you notice that the candle went zooming up, but then it started backing off about halfway through the candle. And it was really interesting to see whether buyers were actually going to step up. And so, as a futures trader, prop trading, if I didn't see that volume come in, there was a high probability that we were going to come back down to the re-entry, and I just would have walked away. But the fact that the volume broke out here was hugely significant to me. To me, this was actually a very big buy signal there. Ironic, eh? Probably nobody's paying attention to that. And we're seeing follow-through volume on the next candle too. It's not like the buyers just vanished. We're seeing some serious buying following through on this. ideally for the bulls, you just want to see more and more buyers come in, kind of like what Alex and Not So Fast were saying there a little while ago. If this really is a bull and these people come in off the sidelines, they're going to register bigger and bigger buying bars. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Right? If we start to see this trail off, then that's your sign that we're running out of steam. So there's a big vote, and that's why the breakout through this level on this bar. You see how it broke this high on this bar here? That was a bullish sign that this could follow afterward. But you notice once we got up here, the volume had basically just disappeared. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. You know, I'm curious to hear, we got this special guest on the show. I'm curious to hear kind of
I'm sorry, I'm
thoughts
talking
on this
too
stuff.
much. I'm going to go on mute.
Oh, no worries, Brian. You're good.
So yeah, what's your opinion on this whole run-up? Where do you see it going? And
I don't know. I like Brian's idea. I mean, I look at really kind of simpler technical supports and resistances when I look at that kind of thing, and more just like ear to the ground type watching Twitter levels that people are talking about. And when Bitcoin's ranging, people can dial that into the letter. And when people just start talking about moon, then you know there's no real numbers that people have in mind, and you know that it's going to be more like a harmonic scale or a logarithmic kind of move. And exactly like Brian was saying, I mean, the next leg up might not be as big as the original move up from like $150 Bitcoin to $1,300 Bitcoin. It could just be from, you know, like the 700s we are right now to, like Alex was saying, crack over $1,000, have the general public's eyes be open and have them all buying in above $1,000, and then have it that sharp pullback to create some new bag holders or new enthusiasts. Take your pick. It's the same kind of synonym.
Interesting nickname for a bag holder, enthusiast.
Yeah, hey, it's kind of how I got involved. I mean, I
got to throw this in before you go on. Just as a broker, we used to always say, many a short-term trade turned into a long-term investment.
Yep. And that's part of what I do. I mean, I've got some bags, small bags that have been underwater for, you know, over a year and such, but then you have the other ones that go sometimes 5x, sometimes 10x, 40x here and there, right? So that's
a guy who knows how this game works, right? Really what this all comes down to is risk management.
Absolutely.
The people that you know, they throw all their money into one story, one trade, and then you hear the word wrecked. Well, I mean, sadly, those just aren't professionals. So if anything, what you just said there, dude, that's a sign of a professional. Everybody's got their shit list. Question is, do your winners usually outweigh your losers? That's the key.
Yeah. And it's just, like, I never pile into, no matter how excited I am about something, I never pile in more than a certain trade limit until I'm in it and watching it and heavily involved, and I see another great setup come along. But otherwise, I'm just absolutely aggressively seeking rock bottom value on something that I've been following for a long time, and then even then I only put in so much, depending on how high I think it can go.
You do a lot of mining, eh?
Yeah, that's how I got into it originally. I seeking value, but in the real world, I kind of had a warehouse where I had a big mining setup, and I was getting flat rate electricity. So that lasted for 2 years before my landlord, who used to mine himself, I guess, found out what I was doing and got really mad and threatened to kick me out.
Oh, man.
So the miners have been off for 3 months now, and they may get turned back on fairly soon if you and I can work something out. But for the time being, yeah, that's how I got into it, because the emission is an interesting part of any kind of instrument, financial instrument, right? I mean, long-term economics, you have it as inflation, and then Bitcoin's a whole new animal where there's a fixed supply in the long term, but in the short term, you still know exactly what it's going to be, but people still react. Their short-term mindset butts up against the long-term mindset, and that's why this halving event this July is so freaking awesome to see the two short-term and long-term mindsets sort of battling it out on the charts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, that Antonopoulos guy, I thought he
Yeah.
really summarized it really well. And that one time I heard he say, it's like the halving event sort of and don't quote me exactly on this. This is just my extrapolation, interpretation. It's like the network builds out, and then there's overcapacity, and then it gets filled up, and then it gets to like capacity where it's too much, and then it has to bust out again. And I that's probably a really poor interpretation of his. But anyway, I'll find the link for you guys, and if you guys want to tweet it out. Really interesting interview, but I think it's sort of kind of what you're talking about in that it's so fascinating to watch the short-term play and the long-term play be forced to come together through these halving events. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it.
One thing that does bother me, and I think I've said this in previous shows, let's call a spade a spade. These are unregulated markets, and we know that the Ponzi stories on Litecoin came out after the event. I think we have to be adult here and understand the fact that there probably is some nefarious business going on with, this rally. Let's just be adult and accept that, if and when this kind of news does come out, that we really shouldn't be surprised. Bull markets have a habit of doing this to people. So, I think it's good, let's not just sort of get wrapped up in the fairy tale of Bitcoin and not realize that, hey, there is serious money on the line here. And people do sometimes do cheeky things when it comes to money.
It's funny that you mentioned everyone's favorite rock, Litecoin, which is not doing as well as Bitcoin is. It's been kind of dropping off in value. Actually, my favorite post of like the last couple days was, oh, look, Polo is all green again. Oh, wait, stupid rock. And it was just like Litecoin was the only red on Polo. Yeah, it was a good laugh. Sorry I interrupted you there, Will. Did you have something?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, so I guess
following along.
Litecoin, do you guys want to maybe take a spin of the wheel and see what coins people have for us tonight?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Jordy, did we give you enough? Did you want to add anything else? I didn't mean.
Oh no, I'm more than satisfied. I want to see what altcoins we're going to talk about and if I even know anything or can speak to anything about them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 'cause, I love your Twitter feed for the information you provide, whether it's just a random trade or like some random altcoin launched on Yobit that like we wonder what the hell is this thing. Well, I'm sure there's a good play involved, but there's lots of information on it, every single one of them. Anyways, I got the wheel up here. Let's take a spin. Winner, chicken dinner. Oh, the one that I don't know anything about, WBB.
Wild Beast Bitcoin. I don't know too much about it.
This
but
is the one that I saw in the chat. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure it's funny. So let's,
he's taken it very seriously. This is run. This is created by Peter from 1x.trade. I know that because I've spoken with him on Twitter and stuff. But I think he's working on some kind of new like WBB OS, like an actual standalone operating system on hardware similar to a Raspberry Pi, and then its own app store, and everything's run on WBB. And I think that's been announced recently. It's kind of in development. That's all I really know from a fundamental standpoint, though.
That's crazy because I actually was just talking with my interview before, Ethan and Zach. Zach was telling me about 21 and like that news story where 21 is now all open source all their stuff. apparently that software is amazing to use and it's really cool to write. But they're planning on making their money back by having like a Bitcoin app store, and then that's where like all the Bitcoin apps that people write on their 21 Raspberry Pis are going to be showing up. So really cool that there's now a free market example of someone trying to compete with that.
Is that a coin?
21? No, it's a company that received 120 million in VC funding, or maybe it was 180. But a lot of money from a private investor, and all they did was sell overpriced Raspberry Pis and release software with it. But apparently,
yeah, and it was literally a Raspberry Pi with like a special chip in it,
A
basically.
plastic shell too. Don't forget that. That added.
Yeah, the cool fancy shell. I mean, I understand why they did it. You know, to begin. I don't want to get off too much on this tangent. I understand kind of why they did it, because their ultimate idea is to make really small embedded chips to go on cell phones and Internet of Things devices. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't, from what I gathered, even as a developer, I didn't see too much really utility in buying one of those things and having it sitting on my desk when I can just run a Bitcoin wallet and interface with the Bitcoin client in Linux or something like that. But anyways, moving on.
Okay. The TA, I mean, I love to, and I'm getting the impression from what I heard from you guys that this WBB is very sort of ground floorish. And I love getting in on ground floor, or even in maybe Bitcoin's case, or not Bitcoin, crypto and altcoins, getting in on the basement. So anytime a coin has like 1.6 coins out, I'm almost worth, this, and it's just me, but the portfolio I run, you saw how many coins I have. I would be willing to grab some of this just because of the low count. It's a little bit expensive though. I mean, this guy's the project's worth $500,000. So you said that he's trying to build software. Was that it? I didn't quite.
Yeah, he also runs an exchange, which actually came after the coin, and it's 1x.trade, and we actually support it on Coinigy. They're really not getting much volume, I don't think, just because it's really hard nowadays to get volume on any new exchange. But yeah, he's got a lot of big ideas. I've talked to him quite a few times via like Twitter direct message and stuff, and he's working on what's called WBBOS. So it's available on Bitcoin Talk. He has a whole spiel on the AND thread.
Oh, cool. And so because it's POW, it's not going to be diluted. Is that correct?
You would think so. I wouldn't 100% trust that. I don't know if that data is up to date or if anything's changed there. But
I mean, like
the general idea.
POS coins, the people get paid to validate the network with more coins that are issued by the operator.
Right.
Whereas POW, like Bitcoin's POW, right? Is that the correct interpretation?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I'm a noob at this stuff, so you guys need to help me with this. All right.
Yeah, as far as Wild Beast Bitcoin goes to me, I don't know. I always felt like I never talked to the guy directly like you did, Will, but I always felt like he was really grasping at straws and pivoting way too quickly to sort of really land on anything. I always felt like he created his altcoin to be all things to all people, and then it's just kind of, let's try to make this 1x exchange. Okay, that's not working. Let's make an OS. And OSs have been made by other altcoins before. I mean, Whitecoin, which was released as something to chase Blackcoin's laurels in early 2014, like they made White OS, and it's exactly what you described. It didn't really affect their price or their market cap,
right,
or their level of attention at all. I don't know, Wild Beast Bitcoin, just like fundamentally, I looked at the name and it was it's got the word Bitcoin in it, like it's pretty derivative.
Right.
I always try to find somebody that's doing something kind of new and interesting and has a focus and a larger goal broken down into increments rather than a new goal every couple months. That being said, Wild Beast Bitcoin, WBB, has a lot of supporters that I've had arguments with in the past when I've said this stuff to them. And so at the very least, there is a committed group of people that are interested in seeing their investment run and willing to support it. So there's that on the fundamental side. But like you said, Brian, I think it's expensive for an altcoin that basically hasn't figured out its core function yet.
Well, I think probably this most recent project was what put this technical floor in the coin, right? It was slipping, it was making lower lows, and because it is still a pretty lofty price, we could dip here if whatever the story is just simply doesn't gain traction. So, if you're going to trade this, I don't mind you taking a shot, even off of this, you want to even play the double bottom here. Really, I don't mind being long off of the name, and I think that's, roughly where we pick some up off of this. Try not to chase. I think that's kind of asking for trouble. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. If anything, maybe use rallies up into these wicks if they do materialize in the future. As at the very least, try and get some free coins, right? And then that way, if it does go belly up, it's not the end of the world. Moving averages still positive, and we're still working off of this bottom. You can see that she's a little bit indecisive here. I'm looking at the weekly chart, so you can get a pretty good idea of what to expect day by day just off of this. You can see the bottom in volume, like we said. This is this was probably the launch, in the back office's kind of idea, him striking deals and stuff to work on this new idea. You could probably see that his backers took their shots, down in here and supported it and probably invested into here. They might even be, on dips down into here. They might even be defending the name off the original bottom. If we start to fail and we start to lose whatever levels here, that's going to set up some bearish market structure, and this thing could, go quiet for a while. The interesting thing is, I see these crazy altcoins. They have just these monster wicks and tails. Was it some smart-ass guy who just, did 1/100th of a BTC up here just to print a crazy price on this?
Yeah,
thing?
that might just be on Bittrex, which is like.
Sounds like you're learning, Brian. You're not trusting the first candle, to draw TAs.
Well, but the irony of it all is that printed. And that actually is valid information. And I often see a lot of these, they may not go to new highs, but eventually the market works its way up and eats a chunk of this. I'm not saying that's going to happen here. You can see that whatever this level is here, that's going to be a bit of a brick wall. And if you do see this price up through here, you maybe even could breathe a bit of a sigh of relief that whatever the battle was that went on here, the Bulls won. And I don't even know how high this was, and we probably want to get on, so we'll just leave that at that. Daily, again, if we there's the rally off of the original lows, right? And that's at about 20,000. So we easily got free coin positions were established here. This is just all gravy. And guess who's buying all this up here, right? Was there kind of warnings not to? Well, we have this Willy indicator. I heard that people were asking for tutorials on the indicators. And I think we have videos in the libraries for people, and I think even Will even said, and gave
it. That particular individual, when I said that, he said, "I've watched all of those multiple times." Okay. So he's looking for more, I guess. You're welcome to come to the site. Basically, it's what I do, and we have tons and tons of resources on the site for you. But that was basically this failure up in here. So, if you were watching and hunting for signs of trouble, that was right in here. The market was clearly going into divergence on this rally here, and you should have just cooled your jets. The fall was pretty hard, just as a whole bunch of these coins have gone through this sort of meltdown here.
So I don't think it's necessarily this coin in particular is under attack. I think just generally speaking, as Bitcoin's moved higher, less and less and less interest is in the altcoin space. If anything, I might argue a lot of coins, like I had this Factum on here, I was so disappointed to see this. A lot of these coins just are not holding their lows. And maybe we should have Polo up here. And they're just, melting down here. So if anything, WBB people, you should be pleased that this guy's actually holding in as well as he is. And, like we saw on the weekly basis, the momentum indicators were still pointing up. Speaking to what Not So Fast said there earlier, the money flowed into the story, and on this pullback, you can see money really hasn't been leaving the story, which is really interesting, eh? I suppose after what I've just said, if you're like, well, maybe I'll take a shot, little old lady style. Good old, what's the name of the area that I like to buy, fib-wise? Can anybody remember? Is anybody still listening?
I'm waiting for Rob to mess up on this one.
I don't know, the reload zone?
Hey, very good. Excellent. Right? So, I like to draw these little boxes, and I find
What
that...
now, Will?
That's what I was going to say, Rob.
And I find often markets love to fight at 78.6 fib. So, if you're going to do something like little old lady style, the risk reward of going long off a test of these lows, especially this tail right in here, you could work a bid against that nice juicy tail there, up against the 200 period moving average. I don't think it's really technically that bad of a shot. I suppose, off of the weekly charts, we identified that weekly level, right? Oh, look at that. Look how that tail came right down into that level. And really, you could, if you really want to try and fine tune things, you could even maybe try and do a reload zone off of this entire range, right? So you can see how the market's actually coming into an interesting buying zone, especially with that tail right there. And with only 1.6 million coins out and seeing the way OBV is acting, I'm not too sanguine about this. There are worse places to have your money working in crypto. Looks to me like momentum-wise, we're getting a little tired here. So, I think it was, we saw on the weekly chart, it was just nutso to be, actually that was the daily, right? It was nutso to be a buyer up here. But down in this area, especially off of these lows, I don't mind the idea of working bids here. And like I said, actually I did buy some. So at least I eat my own cooking. So that's my technical perspective on this bad boy.
Cool.
That's great news, Brian. Thanks for that info.
I hope it helps. I mean, that's how I feel.
Oh, it's definitely a lot of really good information. Like I hope everyone at home appreciates the amount of time that you put in for. Oh, calm down. the dog is getting a little bit incessant here,
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if he's trying to tell us.
Oh yeah, it's the dog here, the Doge.
Yeah.
He's a wild beast.
Yeah,
he is the wild beast. He wants to get his words in.
Yeah, got it. But no, Brian, you have a lot of your day is filled, I think, with your paid members. But we all still appreciate the free time that you give us here. Like, there's lots of good info, and hopefully not to go too meta and talk about this for too long. But I definitely appreciate it. I know everyone else does. We actually had a couple tweets with just random questions. Maybe we could burn through them quick. Someone asked me if I knew anything about Waves or any exchanges. This is the one ICO, Waves, and the network has launched. They haven't doled out any coins yet. So basically, you can sign up with a web wallet. I'm not sure if there's any software wallets out yet.
I think it's just web, but I'm not an investor, so I don't know.
And you know what? After what happened with the Lisk web wallet, I wouldn't even try sending coins to that. I'd want a software wallet where I can connect to the network. And Bill just sent a message. We all got notifications all around the room.
Yeah.
Saying everyone is waiting for Waves. Go to sleep. We're going to enable the wallet late tonight / tomorrow morning. As long as there's no issues with the main net come up, our plan is to add the market at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So anyone who's got Waves coins from the ICO, that's all you should really need to know. maybe we can actually take a look at the last ICO that launched, Lisk, because I think now that their web wallet is working, we might see a lot more money on the market, or a lot more coins on the market.
Okay, sorry, I just need to, full disclosure for everybody, I just looked through our database. I bought this WBB back on September 26th, and I've sold it now twice. So I was a buyer back in September, so that's back in this time period here, I guess September, October, down in here. And I sold some in early March there, and I sold some there.
Nice.
Just full disclosure for everybody, just so that you know what I've done here. And you can find this on the site here. So.
Nice work, Brian. Yeah, maybe if they want to see, they can go back to the Coinergy shows and look for the live stream in September there, and I'm sure it came up on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need somebody to go through and just mark all of the timestamps on all of the coins that we reviewed. So if anybody wants to do that, feel free. Let us know. It would be cool to have a little catalog.
Yeah, that would be it. We talk a lot about a lot of coins here, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah, I was mentioning the one that launched, LSK. It might even be on the wheel too. But
yeah, okay. And where do we want to look at this?
I think Polo.
Yeah, Poloniex is probably the best place for it.
All right. Not a heck of a lot of trading data here, is there?
No, this is new. It only launched a week and a half ago.
Yeah, it's all price discovery pretty much.
It's trading at around 3 times what people bought it for in the ICO.
I seem to remember I had a nice inside bar reversal long setup, and I think I went and did a little nibbling off of it in here. So we're basically back to scratch for me on that trade. I don't know. I kind of look at this. I'm not overly impressed with this M here. That's a bit bothersome. So, and then of course, wicks and tails like to be eaten. This has got to be a little concerning down. Oops. Can we draw that? Ooh. Oh, look at that. Oh. Over there. All right. Well, anyway, this.
We get the idea.
Yeah. This tail here has got to be a little disturbing. Interesting how this one didn't have, and wasn't there like a derivative one on this that was trading on that Yobit, and it was like totally insane prices?
Yeah, Yobit released their own pre-release IOU token, and the premise was you had to trust that they actually did buy that amount, and it traded up to, I think, about
100 times that.
100 times the eventual ICO price. I think it was up to something like 0.022 of a Bitcoin at its highest point, maybe even higher. Just proving, again, what, I mean, I don't know how much of that was insider or wash or anything like that. There's just no way to tell. But it was definitely, I think it did influence the price discovery of the real thing once it actually launched. So just because it was trading for so long before the Lisk tokens themselves were actually truly released, I mean, I think it ratcheted people's expectations up so high that, you know, even...
Why would I take 10x profits?
Yeah, yeah. Like, well, at least we're getting like 3x at the low point, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting actually. We just did this with the level 1ers. We were doing candlesticks, and as I said, there's an inside bar here that resolved bullishly, and then they actually tried to do it again, right? Another inside bar reversal here. So, you know, I think there is one hell of a battle going on here, and I guess the simplest way to look at this is the market's kind of range bound right now. You know, if you want to trade this thing, you know, I think actually as an investor, we'll just finish off. Investors, this actually is pretty simple. If they can hold these lows and turn back up through this high, then you got a nice little, this is actually a harmonic pattern. Let's see what it comes out to. I think this looks like a bat. Yeah, 59, 61. Oh, it's close to a Gartley. Interesting. But in essence, have you guys ever seen these harmonic patterns before? Cool tool that
Oh.
you can use on the site. So technically, actually, this is a bullish harmonic pattern. So it's interesting that they put that in the bullish reversal. I bet there's actually a lot of traders who probably took the long there. So this is really interesting to see how this will play out. If we drill down to a lower time frame, let's see what she looks like down below. So there is, all right, so, for the trader, yeah, this is interesting. You can see the double bottom, and actually we had a double bottom within a double bottom, and can you see we had a double bottom within a double bottom within a double bottom? Wow, what a setup.
Recursion.
I don't know whether you guys can see this.
Overflow error.
Anybody who's at home and literally wants a nice little setup to hunt in the marketplace, these, I don't know whether you can see this, especially the fact that it was off this harmonic level here. This, we went down, up, down. So there's the first double bottom, then down, up, down. There's the second double bottom, and then down, up, down. There's the third double bottom. A break of this, and bye, 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 right? Nice buy signals there. And higher highs and higher lows. So things were just sort of marching along. What's interesting, I wonder, is if we take a fib off of this high back up to this low. Oh, so it couldn't even get to Mountain Man. And what's interesting is we had a structural failure here too, right at this level. So that's actually a little bit surprising that actually it failed right there. Any of the level oneers watching that just took the candlesticks, right? There's nice inside bar fail. So you could have traded that and playing the move back down. Really, man, if we get any sort of bullish reversal in here, this is almost worth taking off of this higher time frame harmonic in here. They dumped it pretty hard. They left a bit of a tail here. So, really watch these lows, especially that tail. Has that tail been totally eaten? We should really watch to see how they defend this firm reversal here and all of these lows. Look how the candle came right down and tagged it, and look how they're just playing with the market. They're probably watching this show as they're trading this, right? And they're just literally, this is a fascinating.
Oh, look at that! Now it's moving up.
Every
time Brian mentions it.
Anyway, look at the battle here, right? So, you don't have to be a hero and go and buy it here, but hey, if you want to, just risk against these lows. If we break down here, then my hunch is maybe just walk away. But, if we get any sort of inside bar reversal, nice little, what would be perfect is if they just calm down and put in a nice little W in here, and then, maybe a nice moving average cross, and away you go. So, let the big boys fight it out here. Let's see if these lows can hold. They might just be backing it up. Remember we talked a week or two ago about those institutional fingerprints, guys? I don't know whether I think I remember talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
So we could argue that the last time this market bottomed, there is sort of that window that's basically an institution's fingerprint, right? We know somebody stopped the bear here. Right, and they brought it back down, and this guy said, "What the fuck are you doing here? Get out of here!" Right, and they did it again. He's like, "I said, get out of here!" Right, and they eventually moved away. Are they doing the same thing here? Is this guy going to step up and defend his longs in here? This is a really, really fascinating level in here. So, investors, my answer is really, since there isn't that much data here, you can't really make an overall conclusive decision about this story until we start seeing some W's, right? And if this thing W's out, these lows hold, and up we go, then, maybe it's worth your, little old lady, Joe Sixpack kind of investment style. Traders, you want to really, fine tune, thread the needle. Really hunt for reversal signals off of this test of this level. This is a really interesting level it's come into here as we're talking. Okay, so that's my spiel there. What do you think?
Cool. What do we have? So this is Lisk, right, Alex? I've been hearing a ton about it. Is there any kind of fundamental story? Anything new? Oh, I guess Alex is gone.
Can't hear you.
Oh, he can't hear me. Okay, well, we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lisk is basically Ethereum, but the code it runs is written in JavaScript instead of the proprietary code that Ethereum uses. I think
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
my understanding of
Yeah,
it.
because honestly, I've been buried in code, so I haven't really had time to even check it out, but I've been hearing it mentioned all over the place. So,
Hmm.
All right.
Alex, you back?
We're back, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, that's right. It's Ethereum that's been forked and it's just written in JavaScript, which is a really common programming language. I say it's probably
Mhm.
one of the more used ones. So that's where they had all this marketing hype. Everyone's like, "Oh man, now I finally know how to write Ethereum apps."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, it's a heck of a lot easier for a lot of people to code. So.
Well, we had someone in the Jumbuck Slack post about a flaw. Like, if you write a JavaScript app, you can extract someone's private key super easily by like writing an app that's like, yeah, check this thing out. You know, it's my trade bot or it's my random cat posting app that uses a Lisk. But then all that could do is just harvest private keys and steal your Lisk. So it was really easy to do that. I'm not sure if they patched that, but it was Sam Biohazard, or no, I think it was Swigwo. I think it's.
Oh yeah. He's a solid dev. He's a solid coder.
Yeah, he knows his shit. So again, some of the awesome information to get.
It'd be really interesting to find out when that story hit and if that corresponds with any sort of break in price. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that was really early on. That was like shortly after the launch, and like I think he was just digging, and he found one of his buddies figured it out or something. So it was probably shortly after we kind of ran the 10x. But right now, yeah, the fight might just be because Bitcoin is doing its new highs, and you know that W you painted, Brian, it might perfectly correspond to Bitcoin kind of painting an M. So it will be definitely something to watch in the correlation, but.
Yeah, no, I think that holds a lot of weight because people locked up, $450 Bitcoin for a couple months to buy Lisk, and they may have doubled in with a lot of hype, and now they're actually taking profits 3 times on $700 Bitcoin at this point. So I think it's going to have the heavy inverse correlation with Bitcoin for a little while yet, as soon as the bag holders sort of decide that they want their Bitcoins more than they want their Lisk.
Yeah, so, like the investors, I think the jury's out and we're testing key lows. The traders, I can see them taking shots off these lows here. That's sort of my 2 cents.
I think we got time. Maybe we can do one more spin of the wheel, guys. Do you want to have
Spin it.
ladder? Cool. I got it on my second screen here. Oh,
I like how you can, I can
there
hear
it goes. Yeah, I could hear it, but then there we go. I love the applause. It's like my favorite part. Oh, pink coin. So, Brian, you've actually met one of the main guys in this. I don't know if you remember Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was with my last show in Vancouver there in Decentral. Aaron is one of the main guys kind of running Pinkcoin right now. So this was a coin that they're basically trying to create a charity for breast cancer awareness. Yeah, like they're on like 2 exchanges. Aaron's doing a great job running it. I think him and Mad Max, another guy, they've kind of taken over the project, and they're staking a lot of their coins to give the staking amount to donate towards breast cancer. So yeah, I think it's a coin with a worthy cause, and hopefully she can keep going here.
All right. How many are out? Ooh, 364 million coins.
Yeah, it's kind of in the Doge range of pricing. It's more of a Satoshi bid here.
Yeah. Was there any particular news that caused this nutso candle here?
That was the weird thing. I think like even it caught Aaron and the other guys off. Like, why is Polo pumping right now? So I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I think Trex has got probably the best history on it.
Right.
Polo is known to do some crazy wicks like that, especially during like let's call it the Microsoft season of spring 2016, where you had what was it, Boz, yeah, Bubble as a Service.
Is that the same as up only markets?
Oh yeah, Rise Only Markets, the
Rise
wrong.
Only.
Yeah.
Rise only
Oh,
markets. I like that. If you could somehow write that into code somehow.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well, the supply out is a bit heavy. I suppose if we throw on, it's been around long enough, we can take a look at a little longer term picture. All right, so it's kind of looking saucer bottom-ish, right? The market cap here is 78,000, and are they not issuing any more coins?
It's proof of stake, and I think it's 5% interest rate. I think that was kind of standard with a lot of these guys, but
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem with that is that means that basically the price can stay exactly the same, and the market cap can just keep growing over time. So it looks like somebody's tried to establish a floor here at 22. Somebody tried to put in a bottom here, left some tails in here, and so as a result, they've come back down and sort of cleaned all that up. I like the fact that they did a little bit of an inside bar reversal here. We do have this nasty little bearish harmonic. We'll probably see that a little better on the dailies. Yeah, there it is. The issue here, unfortunately, is harmonics get into a bit of a hard time when you try doing them off of a logarithmic scale. I think that's kind of how the market's looking at this. This coin is a very different coin when it's 90 ticks versus when it's 20 ticks. You probably, to get an understanding of the story, whoops, that's interesting. Wouldn't mind looking at this on a logarithmic scale. Okay, so that's just not going to work for us. No big deal. I guess the way I would look at it is we'd like to see higher highs and higher lows. At the same time, maybe if you're, value hunting, we're down through this reload zone. It's interesting how I told you earlier, I love using the 78.6 fib as a nice, in fact, the name that I give it is the line in the sand. And I think you can clearly see how they tried to maintain it, moved away from it, brought it back down, lost it, tried to recapture it, real battle in here, lost it in earnest, tried to recapture. Look at that, they brought it right back here repeatedly, tried to recapture it, lost it again. So you can just see it's almost like they're trying to hold on, by tooth and nail here. Which, generally speaking, isn't a good sign. We've left some price gaps in here, so there is some unfinished business, especially this one here. You want to be cheeky as Mr. Trader, you could try and work a stink bid off of that level there. And, maybe, I don't know whether you can actually risk that kind of money. But we're talking 24 ticks. If you want to take your shots, probably the best idea, especially if we drill down to, like, say, a 1 hour. And then we do a nice little fib study here. We probably find that that gap lines up nicely with reload zones down here. The traders out there, you want to work stink bids. You can see how they brought the market down into this zone, filled in this gap, and then moved it away. Volume money flow doesn't look really overly impressive. We did get kind of oversold, and I don't think you could actually really trade this because this is really thin, choppy trading. You'd probably drive yourself crazy trying to do that.
Just to speak a little bit on fundamentals for it too, looking at the network, it's not the healthiest. Like some of the blocks the block time has definitely increased a little bit. I think there's not enough people staking, too many people online. And when I think about it, like I'm pretty sure I have a wallet file with like 1 million of these in it somewhere. So maybe I should do my part for breast cancer and turn on my staking wallet. So we'll see, I guess, what happens here. I know since Polo actually had a couple market ads, they actually delisted it. I'm not sure if Pink was one of the ones they delisted. I know they delisted Arch.
Yeah,
that was a fun time.
Was there a big warning or something?
Still on there, yeah.
For the delisting for Polo or for Bittrex?
I think it was Polo. I thought I saw something.
Yeah, the tweet went out, and I think they had like 2 weeks to kind of like withdraw your coins, but then like, oh look, the network's not really working, so like withdrawals were having a hard time go through and stuff like that. So normally like people tweet about it, and then I think you have like a week to 2 weeks to kind of do your withdrawals and try and get everything out.
All right, I mean, and we've seen some crazy ass action. Right, I've had some coins that I know I've watched you, Alex. You just are like, oh my god, I can't believe you bought that. And then bam, a day or two later, the whole damn thing just explodes, and I'm like, yay! So I know it has happened. And considering this is sort of like a charitable story, are they going to really let this thing fail like that? Would they actually let it do it? Oh, you guys lost.
Aaron, I hope not, because I think like Aaron is a pretty good guy. You've met him yourself, and
oh no, I did. And then that's the sad part about money in this world, right?
Well, if you want my opinion of like what's the best thing they could do, is like they shouldn't be running their own chain, because if they can't support 5% increase in production, then they should almost go to like a 0% rate, and they maybe should do a burn towards like another network, like as bad as it is to say, oh, you should just go on Next or something like that. Yeah. But like I think Ethereum like would be a great chain to like move your tokens onto. Like that's what I think a lot of these coins should be looking at, is like porting to Ethereum sooner rather than later. Do a swap or whatever you need to do to kind of improve your chain and
create some buy interest by like tightening supply, put it on the Ethereum chain. I think people will actually start to do that if they've got a kind of dying blockchain that they created. Its legacy, like Pink, like 2 years old, and the Pink people, they're still trying stuff. They have a Twitter lottery that they randomly award to people.
Their Twitter bots are great. Like that was one thing I think a lot of people noticed about them.
So they're not down for the count by any means, but certain other altcoins might do well to inject a lot more fundamental excitement if they decide, okay, managing our own chain is silly. Let's create a token on Ethereum's chain or Lisk's chain or whatever, and it'll help us accomplish what we originally set out to do. And it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's really interesting too. I mean, especially since we have so many Ethereum holders. I mean, look at the DAO. I mean, people just willing to get into anything as long as it's Ethereum related too. I mean, so even if people are looking to basically raise the value of their coin and raise capital for future projects and that kind of stuff, pretty interesting. Might see a lot more moving towards that, towards the burn.
They could retain their own identity, but just simply use the Ethereum chain, and then that way they don't have to worry about a lot of overhead about maintaining the network. Is that correct?
Yeah, then all they really have to do is you would have to have a little bit of Ethereum whenever you wanted to like send Pink around. But I think the utility that you get of like smart contracts and their whole platform, like if you're on the Ethereum, and this is like a programming talk here, now Pink is now a variable that's able to use, like X can equal Pink, and you can write a contract with that. Where I can't do that even with Bitcoin. Like you have to use an oracle. Like someone has to confirm that a Bitcoin transaction was made. Whereas if you're on their chain, you have full utility of all the features of Ethereum. So like the DAO could own Pinkcoin one day.
What would be the cost difference to an entity like Pink? And Aaron, I hope you're watching, I hope you're listening. Would it be actually more efficient for the charity to go the Ethereum route versus running their own network?
I think it'd be vastly cheaper. Like I said, I think on a previous show, like your chain would become pay per use rather than this flat rate of upkeep. So like you know, I don't watch a lot of Netflix. I don't pay for Netflix, but like if I had to pay for every YouTube view I watch, whether it's an ad or anything, like I am much cooler paying like a quarter of a cent for every video or minute I watch
Yeah.
because I don't have the time to watch a lot. So the same with like pink coins, like well, there's not a lot of transactions, and we saw that with other coins too. Like Black Coin had a transaction bot that turned off. They were doing like several hundred transactions per day, or maybe that was Veracoin. They have the same thing. There's like 500 transactions like every block. Well, there's not 500 users of Veracoin.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's running software to use, I'm putting that quotation, the network. So yeah, I think it's extremely beneficial. And you know what? Like maybe we need to see a pink DAO, and then that's a lot easier to pitch to like the Breast Cancer Foundation to actually want to use pink as their official currency.
Yeah, right. And like you said, in terms of it becoming kind of a variable on the Ethereum network, I mean, is there anything out there that is basically a charitable token yet? I mean, they could essentially be the first one, which would be, big news and stuff for people, Ethereum developers, to be able to say, in their smart contract, a certain percentage is going to go to charity no matter what, or something like that. Or if certain thresholds are met, we're going to donate 10% of this contract to charity. That would be pretty cool.
That is a really powerful thing to be able to sell.
Yeah, that'd be a good sales pitch. So, Aaron, I hope you're listening. I mean, if anything, we want to further your cause. I guess the question I would have here is, if somebody owned this pink and they did decide to make that transition, is there like some sort of swap or something for one token versus another?
Well, that's the beauty of the Ethereum chain. Is like we've seen swaps before and burns where there's like a time limit on it, and that's almost like a way of reducing supply. But like if it's a smart contract, it can exist forever.
Yeah.
So there's always a method to make your pink into the new pink. I guess you still need the old network to run in order to transfer it.
And the old network will always run because people will refrain from burning in case there's some kind of tertiary use for the old network, and there's value from the coins leaving the old network and being burned on there to join the Ethereum network.
Yeah, so it's kind of a win-win, basically.
Yeah,
so
it's a fork where both things have utility, exactly.
Yeah, the old network is now getting more deflationary, and the Ethereum token is now obviously has all its new uses.
Yeah.
And this is why I've mentioned numerous times of this Doge contract, like Jordy's, I think, already rolling his eyes.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But Doge has their developers working on making their coin two-way transferable. So Doge can then go from their chain to Ethereum, and it can come to Ethereum back. And at that point, you have the utility of both chains, and it's the perfect like market structure for them. And that's going to be something that's going to implement in Bitcoin right away. Litecoin can port that and fork immediately because it's the same code. Like, what the work that Doge is doing should not be ignored because that's going to breathe new life into Doge again. And so
what was the other Japanese coin that we were looking at recently that you said was like Doge?
Oh, yeah.
It was Mona, the cat coin.
Mona.
Is that the same sort of thing, or is that totally different?
I'm pretty sure that's script as well.
I think it's script, yeah.
Yeah, so again, any script coin, and there's probably more script coins than like SHA-256, like the Bitcoin clone coins.
Maybe, yeah, it's possible.
Like looking at when I see the evolution chart, like of like where forks happened and like where Peercoin branched out in all the different proof of stakes.
Yeah.
You see a lot of script versus like SHA-256.
Script's very much alive and well just because there's so much multi-pool support. There were ASIC miners created for script that are actually really efficient and multi-pool algorithms that just kind of submit script work to the optimal script blockchain and find a ton of blocks of a ton of different coins. And so all these script coin networks have kind of a base level of security and network support that doesn't really waver a whole lot. And there's ASICs for script, and they're captive, and there's lots of them. So there's nothing else to really do with those things. So as long as they're profitable and they continue to be quite decent, all these networks will remain kind of supported, including anything you care to name that has a script algorithm.
Do you have any recommended pools just out of curiosity? I know you said you kind of quit mining, but
yeah, there's an awesome one called, it's in Canada, zpool.ca, or we'd call it Zpool, but that's a really fantastic one. Another really good American, I believe, multi-pool is called Pro Hashing, and both of those I like to set script miner baselines. They have a ton of data if you really like that, and if you have any kind of script mining capability, you'll probably already know that those two places are the optimal place to point script. Another one I like is the first ever multiple coin mining pool, and it's called multipool.us. So
Okay.
I think those three are the sort of holy trinity of multi-pool mining. If you have a miner, you just point it at one of those pools, and you basically get the best value for your electrical power running a script algorithm that you possibly can.
yeah, Rob, it's time to fire up those milk crates again, man.
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff is
Yeah, Rob and I
really-
haven't really. I was just curious because we honestly haven't mined for probably 2 years now plus. So just curious to hear what's up and coming. And I know I have quite a few video cards, and Rob has some video cards laying around collecting dust.
If you have a GPU rig, it is probably worth it for you to download. It's an Ethereum and Decred dual miner, because both of those unique mining algorithms can run at the same time and give you a good 20 to 50% bump over what you'd get from just mining Ethereum. And it's incredible that you can still be making money with GPUs
Right.
mining both of these coins.
Yeah, no kidding.
No,
Fire up
there's
those
a good
6950s,
Oh, yeah.
boys.
Like I remember Kiko when first Ethereum did its first bump up to, I think it was 70,000 sats. Whatever that first jump up was, he right away bought a miner or bought some graphics cards, and he tweeted or told us in the Decentral Select that you can buy a graphics card and pay it off in a month right now.
Oh yeah, it's incredible
Wow.
the amount. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can get a return on investment buying brand new GPUs, and I still stick with my old ones. Hopefully when I can turn my miners back on, just because those specific images for the cards are so well optimized for mining versus the new ones, which aren't fully dialed and properly utilized yet.
Mhm.
That they're still quite valid. But
Yeah, that's
here's
really
why
cool
people
news.
buy
I
it.
mean,
Oh, people don't realize.
might as well fire him back up then. Hey,
I was just looking at that thing.
Yeah, you're losing money every day.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to pay your hydro bill, but that's probably the best way to go from fiat to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
right on.
That's a good point.
So it's been great to have you here, Jordy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You
thanks a lot, man.
vastly more fundamental knowledge than I could ever hope to have, and
you got a lot yourself, but
well, I think the guys would agree that we would love to have you on again.
Totally.
no, thanks.
For
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you guys for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I watch the show pretty often too, to get a taste of your guys' insights, and of course Brian's technological insights too. So yeah, thank you for having me.
So you coinage, you boys realize the balance of power is tipping here, right? There's going to be 3 Canadians now.
Oh, gee, yeah.
Oh no.
Well,
You
pretty
guys are
soon
healthy.
marijuana will be legal, and you guys will all be asleep. So
Well, I can. I'll message Gambla. Maybe we'll have him join us in 2 weeks too, and then we can have
That'd
an
be
even
cool.
balance.
Built out the balance of power.
right on. Well, I think on that note, we can shut her down. What do you guys think?
Do it, yeah.
Good show?
It's a good time for it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and tweet and Facebook and all that fun stuff. Really appreciate it, helping to get the word out there. And then I'll mention also, if you guys are watching on World Crypto Network's YouTube channel, you are watching a replay. We actually do this live on the Coinigy YouTube channel. So if you're looking to catch it live, it will be 2 weeks from today, which is Wednesday. What's the date today? The 14th?
June 15th.
The 15th. So the next show will be June 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Unless things don't work out, then it'll be 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Jordy. Thanks, Rob. Thank you, audience. And we will say happy trails and catch you later.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Night.
Bye.